All right, Counterpunch Boxing. What's up, YouTube? Okay, look, I got a few details here on the Gennady Golovkin Canelo fight I wanted to share with you guys, and the sparring of Gennady Golovkin, past, present, and future. Basically, I watched a ton of Abel Sanchez interviews. One of them was about a day old, so they kind of revealed a couple of new details. Actually, Oscar did in an interview that I read. But yeah, I'm working on getting my press creds, so I hopefully I can cover the fight. Even if I don't make it to whatever arena, get that off there. I'm not watching CNN. I'll definitely make like a couple of press events. So I will have my press creds, hopefully, and cover it. But yeah, getting into it, look, the student has become the teacher, okay? I mean, look, I these other YouTube channels that I used to be affiliated with, I go back and watch them now, and it's just like, I don't know, I'm not impressed anymore. Back in the day, I was highly impressed, and, I was like, wow, they have like all this knowledge and information, and da-da-da-da. But, I don't see it anymore. I really think our channel is just packed with information and knowledge. I mean, the video that I'm going to do today, other channels would break it up into 3 and 4 videos, I mean, just to make the most money or whatever. But, I don't know. I just don't like doing that. I'd rather give you guys everything in one shot as quick as I can. So, it's just my style. All right. Let's get into it. First off, Canelo has cleared his medical. Basically, these guys have to pass a medical to make sure there's no injuries. And I kind of thought, I wondered, kind of like the Liam Smith, how he broke his thumb. I mean, we didn't hear anything about it until, what, 2 weeks later. So Canelo apparently has already cleared his medical exam, and there are no injuries. Now, Gennady Golovkin is up next. So, I'm sure he'll be fine too. I mean, he's been out of the ring now for a while. I mean, for a while since the Jacobs, well, especially, I mean, going into September, from the layoff. If you look at that, I think it's like a 7-month layoff, or I can't remember, 6 months. It's pretty good distance. But I think it's a good thing. I think Golovkin kind of needed a break, and it's not a bad thing. I mean, basically, you have Canelo going from one hard camp to another hard camp. Although I don't think the Chavez camp was all that hard because it wasn't a fat camp. He didn't have to cut weight. So I think that's one advantage that Golovkin has, right off the bat. But anyway, getting into some sparring things that I'd like to share with you guys. Okay, Abel Sanchez, he's talking about working with Kovalev, and I thought this was like really interesting. Back in the day, around 2010, so if you go back to like the Darnell Boone fight, around that time, 2010, when Kovalev fought Darnell Boone, Sanchez had Kovalev for about 7 fights. Now, I didn't know that he told him to leave, basically. Abel Sanchez, and, leading up to the Andre Ward fight, I kind of feel like it's relevant right now, because there are rumors going around that him and John Jackson, his current coach, that, like, they're not really getting along, I guess, and they're having, like, some internal issues, and, Virgil Hunter has hinted towards that in all these different press events, but, so this is kind of telling, I think. But anyway, like I said, he trained him for about a year and a half, around 2010, about 7 fights. And basically, he said he was like stubborn and unteachable. And he said I had to ask him to leave. And I was like, wow, that's fucking pretty brutal. He's like, yeah, I had to ask him to leave. And so then they got into the actual sparring. Okay. And he said, back then and even today, that Gennady Golovkin was sparring, with light heavyweights, cruiserweights, and he said even, some heavyweights, just like, new guys type thing. And he said whenever Kovalev and Gennady Golovkin sparred, that Kovalev was afraid of Triple G. And he said, I didn't know if it was like, he respected Gennady Golovkin too much, or it was, fear. But he said, to me, it came across as fear. So I thought that was kind of interesting too. When you hear these stories, and it's kind of like, and then Daniel Jacobs, he's running around right now talking about how, the rumors that Gennady Golovkin is like knocking out cruiserweights, why couldn't he, knock me out or whatever? And, you got to kind of wonder, is Golovkin, look, there's 2 ways we can go. You can go option A, Golovkin is playing possum, to kind of lure Canelo in, or B, maybe he is on the decline. Maybe, I don't know, or maybe he's lost that drive, that internal drive that, that basically gave him the power to do what he's done in all his past fights, leading up to like the Kell Brook, which, he would have knocked Kell Brook out. So, you got to consider it is a technical knockout, but, I think he would have put him on the canvas, had it gone on a minute longer. So really, looking at Jacobs, I don't know. I mean, I think Jacobs, he was a lot bigger. He moved around a lot. And basically, he got lucky. I think it was just luck that he made it through. But, I mean, is it Gennady Golovkin just kind of playing possum? Or, is he on the decline? I don't know. I mean, that's the question, because you hear these stories about, these sparring sessions, and, and then you've had people that sparred Kovalev and Golovkin, and they say that Golovkin hits harder. So, and Abel Sanchez, he went on to say that they're going to come directly, they're going to take the fight to Canelo, he said, Mexican style, so, I don't know. It's like a lot of these trainers, they kind of build it up, kind of like Canelo Chavez. I mean, they said it's going to be, the Mexican Civil War, right? World War III Mexican style. I mean, it was just like, that was just, I don't even know, that was embarrassing. That wasn't even like a civil walk in the park. I mean, that was just embarrassing. But, according to Abel Sanchez, they're not going to respect Canelo. They're going directly, directly to him. And I like hearing that. So now one surprising, I'm going to give you two other, sparring partners, and one of them they might bring back. Angulo, he said, Angulo came in like a big dog, and he said he made it competitive, though. He said he came up there to Big Bear and, walked in like he was a shit, and basically Gennady Golovkin just humbled him really quick. But he said he was a competitive sparring partner. Now, it was interesting. He said the most competitive partner, sparring partner that Golovkin has ever had, over Kovalev and Angulo, all these guys, was Ryan Coyne. Okay, I think I'm saying his name right. The Irish outlaw Ryan, Coyne, whatever. 21-2. He hasn't fought since 2013. He lost his last two fights, so I don't know what's going on with him. He's been out for like 4 years, but I've heard rumors that they might bring him back, to spar for the Canelo fight. But according to Abel Sanchez, he's been the hardest and toughest sparring partner out of all of them. I mean, I thought that was really interesting. And then, of course, you have Canelo and Gennady Golovkin. They sparred back in 2011, and Abel Sanchez, he basically said, yeah, Canelo was like 20, 21, and they had big gloves on, and they were at, they were going at like 7. Because look, whenever you spar, like when I spar guys, we'll say, look, we're going to do like 70% power, 40% power. We're going to work on head movement. We're going to work on footwork. I want to work on defense today. So just throw a bunch of punches at me, and I'm going to counter every now and then. So you have different types of sparring that you do. Okay, like I might go later on, let's see, what is it now, it's about 10 o'clock in the morning. I thought about going today because I want to work on defense, just basic slipping a left, slipping a right, and then making the U. You make a U in the air, the left hook, the right hook, you make a U. It's like you're bowing. Like when someone throws a left, it's like you're bowing. Okay, you're going to bow forward, and they throw the right, you're going to lean back, and then while you're leaning back, imagine a U in the air, and you make a U when they throw the hook, and then you make another U. It's like bobbing and weaving. So, I want to work on that today in the gym. But anyway, sparring, that, a lot of people's like, they watch this sparring footage, like, oh, he got his ass beat, and it's like you don't realize that, they're working on certain techniques, okay? So you can't always really, you take it at face value or whatever. But anyway, let me get into the latest quotes, okay? Where's the one with Oscar? Yeah, Oscar talking about the negotiations, and he revealed a few more things from the contract. So we know Canelo 41-1, Gennady Golovkin 37-0. I mean, all the belts on the line, WBC, WBA, IBO, IBF, every single belt on the line. And this is Oscar. He said, look, it wasn't. Let me zoom it in for you a little bit. He said, look, it was not that complicated to get the Gennady Golovkin deal done. It was not so difficult. To tell you the truth. All that was needed was to sit down and negotiate, and we did that 2 or 3 times. We reached an agreement. The fight was made. All that was needed to do was polish some details, and then they talk about the gloves, which is interesting, and I'm going to make a whole video about the accusations from Gabriel Rosado and Gennady Golovkin, basically like smashing down the padding in his gloves. Rosado, I don't want to get into it now because I got a lot of good information on it. I even have like some what do you call it, statements from people that were actually there, and they gave a statement word for word. But you had Gabriel Rosado accusing Gennady Golovkin, of like messing with the padding. So he just got his ass beat, and he's trying to figure out why, is what happened. But we'll get into that later. But anyway, we have on one hand a middleweight champion like Golovkin who will put his 4 world titles into play in a 12-round, 160-pound fight at the middleweight limit and not 1 gram more. And we agreed to use 10-ounce gloves. So I like that. So they're going to use 10-ounce gloves. Gennady Golovkin using the Grant gloves. I mean, that's his, staple gloves, right? The Grant with the little circles on them, G-R-A-N-T. 10-ounce. So I mean, I thought that was kind of interesting, but I don't understand what he means here. 160 pound weight limit and not a gram more. Like, I mean, there's not like some kind of like rehydration clause. I'm wondering, because look, we know Golden Boy, they always have some kind of bullshit clause in their contract. So, I'm sitting there thinking like, where is it? I'm waiting for that big surprise. Like, I don't know, man. Like, who knows? I just don't know. You got like the catch weight for Chavez, the 164.5. All the Canelo weights. So I mean, I'm just amazed that it's going to be a totally fair fight, right? And we know Golovkin coming into the ring, he usually rehydrates at about 170 pounds. So I mean, are they going to allow him to rehydrate? I guess. I mean, again, I wouldn't put anything past Golden Boy Promotion. So I'd like to know if there are any kind of restrictions on rehydration, because really, I mean, there shouldn't be, because we know Canelo's going to rehydrate. He's going to have to. He's going to have to come in, about at least 170 pounds to be able to handle the punches like from Gennady Golovkin. So that'll be interesting to see. But now remember, Canelo is having a tougher time. I mean, every fight, it's getting harder and harder for him to make weight. So I think even for Canelo to go down to middleweight to 160, look at him at 164. Go back and look at Canelo with the Chavez pictures at 164. And, he looked thin. Remember, I was like talking to you guys about that, before the Chavez fight. I was like, damn, Canelo, he looks a little bit thin, and that was at 164. So, I'm curious to see, what he looks like at middleweight, just a true middleweight, another 4 pounds. So, we'll see. We will see. I mean, remember his pants, like he had on like these baggy pants and they were like falling off of him and shit. And you could just tell he had this big blockhead and like this skinny little shoulder. Like he looked drained at 164. I mean, you can go back and pull up the pictures of the weigh-in. So, but yeah, let me read you one final thing here. I think it will be a difficult fight for both of them. Triple G is going to be this is where they're talking about, kind of their plan, okay? Canelo is going to want to box, but I feel that Golovkin will have too much for Canelo. And if he doesn't knock him out, here, let me put this up. If he doesn't knock him out in the later rounds, then he will win by decision. Now, I don't like hearing that. They need to stay away from them judges, okay? What should be noted is that Golovkin will take it to him like a Mexican. It's like, damn, I like hearing that. And it's like, and I told you guys, I'm going to interview Abel Sanchez, and of course he's not going to tell me his, their game plan, but I'm going to tell him, man, you guys have got to be first. I'm like, I'm so tired of seeing these big mega fights, and then you have one guy or the other like afraid to let their hands go. I mean, look at like Tyson Fury and Klitschko, right? I mean, and then compare that to Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. I mean, night and day. So, I'm praying and hoping that Golovkin doesn't play it too safe or, too careful and then lose on the cards, right? I mean, because how many times has it happened? They're on the biggest stage, the biggest fight of their life, and they're trying to play it too careful, and next thing you know, they get a bullshit decision, and that's what I'm worried about. So, But you know, I haven't made my prediction yet, but I'm almost picking Gennady Golovkin by knockout, you know, by stoppage, TKO. So, and I'm gonna do tell of the tape later just to break down the attributes and whatnot. But look, here's the latest. So if it is, this is Cowboy Stadium in Dallas, Texas. It's only, you know, I have a lot of family in Dallas there. So if the fight is in Dallas at Cowboy Stadium, and I'm praying that it is, well, AT&T Stadium is what they call it now. But you guys need to look up. It has like the biggest jumbotron in the world. You know, one of the most, you know, highly technically advanced stadiums in the world. I mean, it's just a beautiful, awesome stadium. It's huge, and this place is huge, and they can pack in over 100,000 people. And then they even have like outside, they have like standing areas. Well, they have a big jumbotron, and you can put like another 20, 30,000 outside, and then all around the stadium they have like that closed caption or whatever they call it, where you can go to these different places and watch it, and it's linked to the stadium. So, I mean, it would just be a huge mega event if they could do it in Dallas. And I don't know why they wouldn't. Like, I just don't get it. And here's the thing. Now, that would benefit Canelo, and let me tell you why. Okay, let me end it here. Like, let's go back to, here, close your eyes. This will make you dizzy. If you look at this picture right here, okay, this is when I covered the Canelo-Kirkland fight, okay? Now, this is in Houston, Texas, where I live, all right? And all these people you see right here, they had like 57 people or 57,000 people in attendance, okay, at Minute Maid Park. And this is a baseball stadium. Now, we have what do you call it, a football stadium where the Texans play about, I don't know, about 8-9 miles from here. And my boxing gym, actually, see these two buildings right here in the middle, those kind of tan buildings? My gym is right behind those tan buildings. So the gym I go to pretty much every day. But anyway, the whole crowd was, I'd say 70% Mexican. You know, I'm not even joking. Like, I mean, I was seriously like one of the only like white people there. And, you know, I'm not saying anything negative about it, but my point is, if it is at Cowboy Stadium, same thing. I mean, you're going to have a huge, I mean, out of 100,000 people, you're probably going to have 80,000 Mexican fans there, you know, pro Canelo. So again, I mean, and we know the crowd can influence the judges. I mean, look, even when they were talking about the Cotto Canelo fight, they talked about having it at Cowboy Stadium, but Cotto said no. I mean, he'd be like the hometown favorite there. Like that's basically in his backyard because, you know, we're pretty close to the border. You know, I mean, a lot of people consider Houston like a border town. I mean, you can get to Mexico from here in about 2.5, 3 hours. So, you know, Mexico is not far from where I'm at. You know, so we have just a huge Mexican population here, and especially like in Dallas, San Antonio, Austin, you know, all these surrounding areas. So, you know, I think my point is, I think it would benefit them to do this in Dallas. So I think that maybe, you know, maybe that's where it's going to go down. So, but if they do, that's not so good for Golovkin because, you know, I've already seen this whole setup. I'm telling you, man. And plus, it's going to be on the Mexican Independence weekend. So, you know, when they celebrate their independence. So it's kind of like our 4th of July. It's going to be on that weekend. So, you know, you got the Mexican Independence weekend, you know, Cowboy Stadium possibly. I mean, that's like pro Canelo. So, pro Canelo. All right. But anyway, let me leave it at that, guys. Oh, and of course, well, you know what? I'll get into the whole WBC thing later in the clean boxing program. But, yeah, I think I'm going to put out a quick video, just kind of a tell of the tape, going over their attributes and things like that and you know, give my own opinion on it. So anyway, guys, leave a comment below. Sorry to make it kind of long, but, you know, I'm trying to cram everything into one video for you guys so you don't have to watch like 2 or 3 videos. So, all right, you guys have a good one. Leave your comment below. Thank you for watching.